On August 13th, 1992, I was born to Larry and Caroline Lynn in the parking lot of Taco Bell. My parents have always said that my stubbornness, strong will, and sense of humor are all to blame for not making it to the hospital in time. I was born into a large family and had 4 older siblings, Emily, Megan, Liz, and Ryan. Between them and my parents, there was always someone around to hold me, feed me, or play with me, and take care of all of my physiological needs. I trusted that they would continue, allowing me to come out on the favorable side of Erickson's trust versus mistrust. Around this time, I was also in Piaget's sensory motor stage. I was very curious about the world and put almost anything I could get my hands on in my mouth. I had 2 nicknames when I was a baby. My mom called me Princess, and my dad called me Fatso. Both names stemmed from the same meaning. I was nicknamed Princess because everyone would carry me around. On rare occasions when this did not happen, I got from place to place by rolling around on my big, fat baby belly. For Erickson's second stage, autonomy versus doubt, I believe I came out on the doubtful side because I did not learn to walk until I was 17 months old. If they were going to carry me, why walk, right? When I was a toddler, I took rules and rule breaking very seriously. When I was alone in a room and did something wrong, I put myself in timeout and sat in a corner. My dad called me the self-disciplining baby. At this point, Maslow's hierarchy of moral development placed me at the second stage. My parents thought it was great, and that I would be an easy child. This was not the first or the last time I fooled them into thinking that. As time went on, I wised up to the whole process of punishment, realizing that you don't get in trouble if you aren't caught doing something wrong. This probably knocked me down a level on the moral development ladder. One day in preschool, I was given the duty of being the line leader. This day forever changed my life by giving me my first taste of leadership and putting me on the favorable side of Erickson's third stage, initiative versus guilt. I took my line leader role very seriously and found pleasure out of knowing that I had followers. Being a little sister to 4 is tough. After being told what to do for my whole 3 years of life, I finally got to give it back. I took this newly found initiative home with me and enforced all the house rules, even though I thought I was above them. No one really listened to my orders except for my little sister Meredith, who immediately became my subordinate and best friend. A few years later, my little brother Connor was born, and we grew out of our old house and moved across town when my dad decided to open a new business. Being taken out of my familiar environment caused my once spunky and outspoken attitude to become dormant around my peers. I started kindergarten as being very shy at school, causing me to come out on the inferior side of Erickson's 4th stage, industry versus inferiority. As inferiority carried all the way through elementary school. I was bullied for my crooked teeth and freckles, but I did my best to fit in. I played sports and found out I was pretty athletic and had a kinesthetic attribute that helped me understand school better when it was more hands-on. During this time, I also found out that I had a linguistic intelligence. I was constantly reading at recess and during school instead of paying attention to my assignments. My love for reading brought on my love for writing. I secretly started to write short stories and poems, too embarrassed to share them with anyone. Middle school was a very hard time for me, as it is for everyone. I had to balance the typical judgment of peers. I considered my family to be very close to me. But during this time, the divorce of my mother and father caused a strain, which caused an obvious shift in my microsystem friend Brenner discussed. I found the most joy in the family sport of go-kart racing. Connor, Dad, my grandfather, and I were all a team. Team Lynn Racing. Since racing isn't a very popular sport among the ladies, I always got a kick out of beating the boys, as did my dad and grandfather. As middle school went on, I became more independent in my own self and became comfortable with the person I was turning into. My confidence really kicked in high school, and my happy-go-lucky outlook on life allowed me to make friends while escaping the identity versus confusion stage from middle school. These friendships were influenced by common interests. My personality allowed me to be friends with many different types of people. I was never one to settle for a certain clique or group. Although my family stopped racing, my love for competition carried into my high school years, where I tried just about every sport, but fell in love with swimming. Even though I had to get up for morning practice at 5 a.m. and spend countless hours in the freezing pool, I loved it. And it turned out to be pretty good too. I found out I had an interpersonal personality and was looked to as a leader after being voted as team captain for 3 out of my 4 years of high school. After claiming 5 school records, I felt a great sense of accomplishment I had never felt before. In Maslow's hierarchy of needs, I reached all the way to the 4th section, dealing with esteem. Once I got to college, I really exercised Erikson's 6th stage, intimacy versus isolation. Although I am still in the process of forming these relationships, I believe so far I am on the favorable side. My relationships with my family members has matured into a new stage, as I have also matured. I found it important to maintain some friendships from high school, while creating very close friendships since coming to Butler, mainly through my sorority. The friendships I have gained in the last year are unbelievably strong, and I can only attribute that to my developmental history.